My name is Fazio, and I've been a member of this organization for a few years, and this organization had a member named Judith DeBisceglia. She was a very good friend of mine, and many people in this organization knew her. Unfortunately, she died without ever having the chance to be the featured reader. So I thought it would be a good way to remember her life would be to read her poetry for her. And that's what I would like to do today. The Woodsman. We walked in the woods. He showed me animal tracks in the mud. I showed him pink wildflowers. Over dinner, he told me about an Indian Aboriginal spirit he saw floating at least a few feet above the ground, and laughed, saying it had been years since he thought about that. I told him I was walking in all the droughted canals. The spirit that continually lifted from the mud. I didn't mention about that. Nor did I tell him I thought he was adorable. His heart seemed sad with memories of love. We hugged at my front door. He said he wanted to be friends. Never again did he call. I still, now and then, think about those pink wildflowers and the crimson laser light from his gun that shined upon my gardens that last night I saw the Woodsman. Winter heart. You challenged my heart, knowing my wanting, strongly resisting into silence, breath of winter. I stood beneath the mid-dark sky, amid the clouds and the wind. We intergathered under the light of the moon. When morning came, the hunting season bore its mark upon me, like a tattoo. Between the dark and the dawn, your mysteries now, shadows of doubt and fear. I wept. What do you love in this world? Could it ever be me? The intentional murder of my wanting hurts more than your rejection. Autumn leaves fall from the tree. Before touching the ground, they swirl in ecstasy. Spring always comes. Has winter lasted too long? Wrap me in your sweet silence. Let me witness your return. Blue mixed with yellow makes green. Mrs. Scally was my preschool teacher. Vividly, I remember her pink lipstick smile. Mrs. Scally knew I had trouble learning, talking correctly. I couldn't pronounce my S's or T's. While other children were busy playing with each other, I would sit at the big wooden table, finger painting by myself. I would watch the colors mix together and go into another world. She knew I didn't need to socialize. I was the last child of 5. When I painted, I could forget my father's screams my mother's cry. Sitting at the wooden table, looking up into her eyes, blue into yellow makes green. I loved finger painting. I loved Mrs. Scally. She was the first person I felt loved me. Deepening drought. Small pools of thinning water, minnows swim in circles, tighter each day. Imprisoned in shallow graves, skull of a small animal, now brittle, exposed to the sun, deep cracks in drying mud. Mouths gaping on the surface of stagnant graying green water. Great blue heron feeds on the dying. Further down the canal, scores of tadpoles huddling among lifeless palm fronds, breathing watery mud. Midday light strikes, bluing broken abalone in perfect reflection, interfacing survival's shadow. Fish lie on their sides, helpless in the water receding, rising to surface, slowly suffocating. Flesh encased, bubbling mud consumes, orange-headed flies break silence. Scattered empty snail shells, clams, mussels, sweating. The last moisture is within. Mud turns to sugar sand. Fearlessly, turtles tracking out of the dying canals towards the bones of flight wing, the rain dancer. Scent of death, rattling dried leaves, thousands of lives leaving, moving out of the mud, spiraling into the absolute. Titled, Love is an Unnamed Tenderness. I want to love, but my emotions get in the way. The most painful secret is the one I'm not aware of. Sometimes I just want to melt into the flowers and trees and become wordless. Forgotten graves. Columns of light streaming down, breathe autumn's reprieve. Rest in long, slender grasses and delicate flowering weeds. Vines attached to graves. Dew and clear wings reflect sun as nature reclaims. The window. Like before, I remember the emptiness within, past times coming again. I cannot see, I only feel alone. Cannot describe, we, the deeper side, gathered into one, overriding spirit, controlling the mind, feeling nothingness of everything. I cry, the wood covering me, cold, my room empty, tears wet, searching for the warmth no human can ignite. I jump from myself, away from the window.